Hello everyone, those who are aiming to crack Neet 2022 without tuitions and without classes, but outside unwanted energies that are somewhere making you disturb from your studies and maybe commenting on you that see how much overconfidence they are that gonna do this thing, right? But यही टाइम है हमें जब उन्हें प्रूव करना है कि वी आर नॉट ओवर कॉन्फिडेंस बट वी आर हैविंग कॉन्फिडेंस ऑन अवर सेल्फ, वी आर हैविंग फेथ इन अवर सेल्फ एंड वी नो दैट वी आर गोना पुट अवर 100% टू बूस्ट नीट विद द हाई स्कोर, राइट? और वैसे भी मुझे पता है कि फिजिक्स बहुत से बच्चों का वीकेस्ट पॉइंट रहता है, मे बी 95% बच्चों का वो वीकेस्ट पॉइंट रहता है, राइट? बहुत से 5% बच्चे रहते हैं जो कि मैथ में भी अच्छे होते हैं और फिजिक्स में भी, राइट? तो मैं भी आप में से एक स्टूडेंट हूँ, मैं भी 11th में ही पढ़ रही हूँ, तो मैंने सोचा क्यों ना अपने दोस्तों के साथ पढ़ लिया जाए। वो भी 11th में, मैं भी 11th में हूँ, एज डिफरेंस भी कुछ नहीं है और वैसे भी अंडरस्टैंडिंग लेवल तो फिर सेम ही रहेगी, तो क्यों ना साथ में पढ़ लिया जाए। और वैसे हमने टॉपर्स के बहुत से वीडियो देखे हैं, तो वो भी बताते हैं कि विदाउट कोचिंग्स एंड क्लासेस हम लोग स्कोर कर सकते हैं। और वैसे बहुत अच्छा मेडिसिन जो कि हमें नीट क्रैक करने में हेल्प करेगा वो तो हमारे पास पहले से अवेलेबल रहता है, वो है एनसीईआरटी। बाकी के रेफरेंस बुक अगर हम रेफ़र करेंगे जैसे कि एससी वर्मा फॉर फिजिक्स, तो हम जल्दी से अच्छा स्कोर तो कर ही पाएंगे। और रही बात जो कि यूट्यूब पे सर्च करने की है, तो आप में से मैं भी एक ऐसी स्टूडेंट थी जिसने खुद होके यूट्यूब पे सर्च किया। बट मैंने अभी बायोलॉजी के लिए तो हम सबके पास है ही वानी मैम के क्लासेस, और मुझे पता है कि मोस्टली बच्चे जो है वो उनके क्लासेस को रेफ़र करें क्योंकि उनकी जो टीचिंग है वो बहुत फेबलेस एंड बहुत फैंटास्टिक है और मुझे भी बहुत पसंद है। तो मैंने सोचा अभी फिजिक्स के लिए तो मुझे मिली नहीं है, तो क्यों ना वैसे ही बहुत से बच्चे होंगे जिनको अभी नहीं मिली होगी, बहुत से मेरे फ्रेंड्स होंगे, तो क्यों ना हम लोग साथ में पढ़े। और वैसे भी लॉकडाउन में हमारा कुछ क्लास तो हो रहा नहीं है, फ्रेंड्स तो एक दूसरे से ऐसे इंटरेक्शन कर भी नहीं रहे, तो क्यों ना हम लोग एक दूसरे से इंटरेक्ट करें, बातें भी कर सकते हैं कि हमारे क्या डाउट्स है, क्या प्रॉब्लम्स है। तो अभी तो लाइव वीडियो में हम लाइव चैट के थ्रू कर सकते हैं, बट मेरी सब्सक्राइबिंग रेंज लो होने की वजह से मैं लाइव वीडियो शूट नहीं कर सकती, तो इसीलिए मैंने सोचा क्यों ना हम लोग कमेंट से एक दूसरे से इंटरेक्ट करें। So let's start studying with physics. Chapter number 4, that is physical world. We all knew very well that physics is a branch of science along with chemistry and biology. Thus, the word science, it definitely when comes in front of us, we think of to discover something about discovery. So its meaning is nothing else than to know. Now the question arises that from where does this word has been originated? So according to our ncert books, it's given that this word science, it has originated from a Latin verb scientia, right? Then we have a different meanings for it in different languages. So in Sanskrit, it has given that it is referred to as vaginine, whereas in Arabic, it is referred to as ilm. But both this word has a similar meaning, and that is knowledge, right? Now friends, let's go towards how the science got developed, about its history, and who played what role, right? So early Egypt civilization was there, or of India and China. It had made very vital contribution in development of science. Then further we go to next point, it tells us that from 16th century, what are the great strides were there that were made in science in Europe, right? Then in 20th century, the centuries are very essential because MCQs may ask on it. So we see that in middle of 20th century, the science, it became truly international enterprise. Means what? Science was then being globally introduced, being globally known by everyone in the world, right? Then the next thing is that we look towards the science very well, and nowadays in India or everywhere in the world, it is having special importance. So what does actually this word means? It also has a scientific definition along with other words that we see in science. So science, it is nothing else than a systematic attempt to understand the natural phenomena in as much detail and depth as possible, right? So then we see that we have to use the so gain knowledge in it to predict, modify and control the phenomena. Means what? That whether in future we can assist to it, can we make changes in it, and can we control those phenomena, right? Now along with science, we see that the scientific methods are very essential, right? Now, according to ncert, there are some interconnected steps with this scientific method. So let's see them one by one. So the first one, it is a scientific observations, whereas second, it is a controlled experiments. Third one, it's qualitative and quantitative reasoning. Fourth one, it's mathematical modeling, whereas fifth, it's prediction and verification. Then sixth, it's very common without which science is incomplete. It's nothing else than classification of theories. In science, theory is very. Then we see that speculation and conjecture has a place in science. Yes, because without an idea and without a guess, science is incomplete, right? Then the further the science got developed, it got progressed. So it was nothing than the basic interplay of theory and observation that had made the science to get progress, right? Then we see that science is ever dynamic because it has no final theory, as well as there is no one question authority among science or scientists, right? Because in science, why is very essential, and every scientist arises a question, why does this happens, and there's a new observation takes place, because there is no one question authority among the scientists and no final theories there ever in science, right? Some of they are getting finalized without globally introduced. Then we see that as the observation it improves or it get detail or precision, or the experiments when they add more results, then there must be a theory to be account, because it will be not complicated and it must have introducing with the various modifications in it, and those modifications they may not drastic and they may lie within the framework of what existing theory. Now for example, let us see what are the scientists given in book and what are their theories, right? So firstly, we see that Johannes Kepler, he examined the extensive data on a planetary motion, which was further collected by Tycho Brahe. He introduced that a planetary circular orbits were in heliconcentric theory. Nothing else than the sun is at the center of solar system, which was further imagined by Nicholas Copernicus. He had to replace it by the elliptical orbits to fit the data very better. Now, this all existing theory they were unable to explain the new observations, right? So further, there was a new concept, Newtonian mechanics. That was a theory that couldn't explain the basic features of atomic phenomena. Similar to that, there was another theory that was a wave picture of light theory. This theory failed to explain the photoelectric effect properly. And thus we can see that in deep, if we look, this theory was about the photoelectron and what are the photoelectronic current being generated from it, which was failed due to the lag of time. Quantum mechanics. This deals with atomic and molecular phenomena. Okay friends, have you heard any time about quantum physics? Right? If you won't have heard, we'll discuss about it in next video, definitely. Until that, let us continue. So we see that one of these cycle is there. It's very common, but it has been given in our book. That is nothing else than, as we see the new experiments, what happens? We suggest to be an alternative theoretical model to be made from that new experiment, and thus that theoretical advance it suggests us what to look in some of the experiment. I mean, this is all a cycle. From experiment we get a what advanced theoretical model, and from that model only we get further more experiment, right? So we see now, for example, one of the experimental result done by Ernst Rutherford. So the scattering of alpha particles, which we have seen in our earlier classes, also done by Goldford. So they had established nuclear model of atom, which has become a basis of quantum theory of hydrogen atom, that was given in 1930 by Niels Bohr. Okay, what are the experiment was there of scattering of alpha particle? It was carried in 1911, and this whatever the quantum theory was there of hydrogen, it was given in 1930 by Niels Bohr. And on other hand, we see that whatever the concept is there of alpha particle is there, it was theoretically introduced by Paul Dirac in 1930, and 2 years later it was confirmed by experimental discovery of Carl Anderson by the positron. Then we see that the physics, it is a very basic discipline in category of natural science that includes as we seen earlier, like chemistry and biology branches. Thus physics, it is a Greek word that means nature, and its Sanskrit equivalent is bhautiki, that is used or referred to as study of physical world. It do not contain any of the definition, but it has been broadly described as what? A study of basic law of nature and their manifestation in different natural phenomena. Now this physics, it contains a two principal thrust in it. So the two principal thrust in physics are what? Unification and reduction. So let us see them one by one. So the first principal thrust of physics, that is unification. So we can tell that unification in physics means what? Where a diverse physical phenomena is explained in terms of few concepts and laws. It also has given it about its describing in ncert, but I had made my own definition. So if you would like to note it down, you can note it down. So it is the effort to see the physical world as manifestation of some universal laws in different domains and conditions, and this is what called as unification. So we can take unification as what it is, the attempt to unify the fundamental forces in nature. Now several scientists tried it, but they won't got success in it. So here I will tell you some of the points out of ncert, that are the name of physicists and the year, and whatever their achievements are there in those years, we are going to see about them. So first of all, we'll look at the first scientist, that is, or the physicist, that is Isaac Newton. In the year 1687, he unified the celestial and terrestrial mechanics, showed that the same law of motion and the law of gravitation would be applied to both the domains. Then the Hans Christian Oersted in 1820 and Michael Faraday in 1830, he showed that the electric and magnetic phenomena are inseparable of a unified domain, and the term is derived what electromagnetism. Then James Clerk Maxwell in 1873, he unified the electricity, magnetism and optics. Means what, he showed that the light is an electromagnetic wave. Rather, Sheldon Glashow, Abdus-Salam, Steven Weinberg, in the year 1979, these three scientists, they showed that the weak nuclear force and the electromagnetic force could be viewed as what different aspects of a single electroweak force. Then we see Carlo Rubbia and Simon van der Meer in 1984. These two scientists, they verified the experimentally whatever the prediction was there of the theory of electroweak force. Then further we see the second principal thrust of physics, that is reduction. So reduction is what it is, a related effort is where to derive the properties of bigger or more complex system from the properties and interaction of its constituent simpler parts. It is called as reductionism. Means where we are trying to derive the properties of bigger system from the its subunits, right? Now we are going to see about the scope and excitement of physics. So in scope and excitement of physics, we will deal about the two domains, that are macroscopic and microscopic. So macroscopic domains, it includes the phenomena at the laboratory, terrestrial and astronomical scale, and this phenomena are studied in classical physics, that includes mechanics, thermodynamics, optics and electrodynamics, right? It is a classical physics part, microscopic domain. Then we see microscopic. The microscopic domain, it includes atomic, nuclear and molecular phenomena, and this phenomena are governed by what, quantum physics. As in starting I told you, I will tell about the types of physics. So here are the three main types of physics, that is quantum physics, classical physics and relative physics. Whereas the classical and quantum can be come together, whereas classical and relative can come together, but none of the time quantum and relative can come together. Relative physics consists of the huge objects. Then here I would like to inform you about some of the golden key points, since the range of length, mass and time. So the range of mass is it ranges between 10 to the power minus 14 meter to 10 to the power 26 meter, whereas the range of mass, it ranges between 10 to the power minus 30 kg to 10 to the power 55 kg. And the range of time, it ranges between 10 to the power minus 22 seconds to 10 to the power 18 second. Whatever the terrestrial phenomena are there, they also lie somewhere in the middle of this range only, right? So this is what we see today. Hope so you may like this video, and for the further videos just keep on watching. We'll see in next video about the link between technology and physics with the different scientific principle and the technology, and further topic we will be continuing. Thank you.